Good morning, my good friends. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to my channel. Welcome. Let me introduce myself. My name is Andre Lefevre. I'm a citizen journalist. My website is wildnews.us. And this afternoon, I want to say a few things about a civil war that many people think we're in, or many people prophesize it's going to happen soon in the United States. Let me just tell my opinion. We are not in a civil war. Let me repeat that again. We are not in a civil war. We are in a situation which reminds me of two teenagers who are just about to fight, who are involved in severe trash talking. Maybe bump chests once in a while, but have not landed a punch on each other yet. This is where we are, I think. We are not in a civil war. Let me tell you what I think the civil war, if it happens, is going to look like in the United States. Soros and his globalist bodies are going to try and create so-called color revolution. The color is purple for the United States. So we will see mobs all over the Democratic-controlled cities wearing purple going to gather protesting the quote-unquote the fascist government of Donald Trump and demanding change. Behind them will be radicals such as Antifa and others going to incite violence. At the same time, the Soros-controlled so-called alt-right, so-called white nationalists, but actually they're just actors wearing, they're on the payroll of the progressives. They're all on the same side, are going to attack those mobs wearing purple, and they will be wearing whatever the white supremacist symbols are at the moment, whether swastika or whatever. So you're going to have Antifa or groups like it, or Black Lives Matter, going involved in violent clashes. And it will be done simultaneously throughout the United States, including Washington, D.C. And it's going to get out of hand. At least Soros-supported people will make sure it gets out of hand. So the Soros-controlled bureaucracy, law enforcement bureaucracy in the United States, will declare martial law and will bring National Guard and will bring federal troops to quell it. At the same time, they will probably assassinate Donald Trump or arrest him and imprison him, awaiting quote-unquote trial for the crimes against humanity, period. They're going to portray him as a Hitler. Now, to accomplish that, just to use Soros-controlled U.S. bureaucracy is not enough. They will bring some professional private military companies from overseas. Now, this is the plan. The end goal of those uprisings and everything is something, is what was described in an immortal novel called The Brave New World. Where it describes a communist society where everybody's controlled by the government, everybody's station in life is predetermined even before birth, everything is distributed equally, outcomes are predetermined, and everybody's happy. The family is abolished, and the children are loyal to the state, and they're being brought up to the state. This is, believe it or not, is the goal of the progressive movement today. And I think it will be a bliss. All they need to do is to remove us, the American middle class. Now, this is what they want to do, and let's assume they'll be successful into arresting or killing Donald Trump, taking control over the Democratic control large cities such as New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, Boston, Chicago, Atlanta, you name it, Miami, Austin, Phoenix, Dallas, etc., etc. Now, this is where I think their well-prepared plan is going to stop because A, they will have to deal with the mobs of people who are going to taste blood. Why? Is because the progressives have a list and they will arrest or assassinate all the conservative leaders. How will we know that this is a real thing? Is because our internet will be turned off and our cell phone service will be turned off. Rush Limbaugh, Alex Jones, and many, many others, commentators, conservative commentators, will either be assassinated or arrested. So, what they think is that will create an obedient populace that will no longer be able to get the news and the moral support from those people, and we will simply comply. Now, their goal is to destroy the prosperous middle class and reduce all of us to the dependence of the state. So the people that are going to suffer the most are actually the people who are behind it, the leftist professorial class, the one that live in the upper class neighborhoods, gated communities, who think of themselves as a ruling class, but not quite up there with the American aristocracy. They're not Bill Gateses, they're not George Soroses, they're not Bill Clintons, they're not Obamas. They're just upper middle class that work in the universities. They're mid-level corporate executives, all leftist oriented. They will be the ones on whom the true organizers will unleash the mobs to rob and pillage. It will be racially motivated, so the non-white mobs are going to start killing, robbing, and raping white middle class, along the way with non-white middle class too. Everybody who owns their own property and owns a little bit more than people in the inner city. Now, they'll have to deal with that. So the people who will be spearheading that, Black Lives Matter, the Antifa, they will be exterminated, and probably by the foreign military, private military companies. Now, this is the plan, and up until point, that's probably one or another variation of that will happen. What's going to happen next, in my opinion, is that the plan is going to go sideways, because America is unique. We have a tradition of self-organizing at the grassroots levels, especially in the so-called flyover country, the middle America, semi-rural and rural areas. Also, I don't think that all the police department who will originally be issued stand-down orders are going to stand for it. Some of them are not wouldn't want to have any points of it. So I think what's going to happen at that point is that our military and police forces will divide. In the loyalists won't have nothing to do with the color revolution, and the ones who support it wholeheartedly. And then when the real civil war will start. This is when the planes, the military planes, going to attack the bases of the loyalists and of the color revolutionaries. This is where the leftist leaders will get assassinated. This is when we're going to have a real, true blue civil war, where our military will be divided and our military forces will be divided. Also, there will be a great number of well-trained volunteers on the loyalist side, on the freedom-loving people's side, who will self-organize into military and paramilitary groups fighting the color revolution. I have no idea if that happens what outcome will be. More than likely, it will be a devastated country with a dead economy, no Federal Reserve money, all wealth is gone, not attractive to illegal immigrants. By the way, one side result of the color revolution and the Second American Civil War is all the illegal immigrants will leave the country, because wherever they came from will be a lot more peaceful than the United States. One thing I know about us is that once we're going to start killing each other, we're not going to stop for a long time. It's going to be a huge bloodbath. Keep in mind also, all of those plans are devised by men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. The people who are actually going to take control, as all the history of all the revolutions and civil wars dictate, will be young men in their teens, in their 20s. Starting with the French Revolution, Russian Revolution, American Revolution, Chinese Revolution, Cuban Revolution. You're going to have 19, 18, 19, 20-year-old commanding divisions and commanding battalions. You're going to have young men in their 20s, early 20s, wield the power that in a peaceful time it takes decades to achieve. So it's going to be young men's war, as it always is. So our generations will be eliminated, swept out of power, and rendered irrelevant. Again, this is not something I wish on my country. This is what we should avoid. So for those of you guys on our side who can't wait for the Civil War, please think twice. More than likely, you are not going to survive it. And I'm not going to survive it. It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be atrocities, concentration camps, torture, rape, unbelievable misery. Unbelievable misery. One thing, again, that history of the United States shows, that once we start wielding that gun and that sword, we're not going to stop until the opposition is completely prostrate. That's what happened to English during the American Revolutionary War. That's what happened to the South during the Civil War. And I wouldn't wish something like that again on the United States. What do I think we need to do to avoid that? I don't know. Our side needs to convince the other that any attempt of a color revolution is useless. And actually, I'll tell you the good news. It looks like Donald Trump have put a political Brazilian jiu-jitsu move on the Mueller and Strzok and all the idiots of the deep state, and it's looked like he's slowly strangling them. I'll talk about it more as time goes along, but again, on our side, on the side of the good guys, I'm not saying if they're going to start attacking us, lay our arms and give in. No. But be wise about that. Keep in mind that once the shooting starts, all bets are off. All bets are off. And once the shooting starts, probably the first casualty will be you. So that's all I have to say for today. Appreciate any and all comments. Visit my website, wildnews.us. God bless you. God bless you. Bye-bye.